Something has a picture when they built the place, but
So blindness.
out the window.
I always, this is about the third or fourth time that I've watched this. And every time about, I don't know, halfway, 2/3 of the way through, I want to quit. Right? I want to stop and say, it's too much. But then I've kind of felt that same way about several things this year.
Yeah.
How many saw some parallels between some of the stuff we've been going through and this story?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
question that this really raises is, how do we get through, and how do we wade through and wait through all of this stuff, knowing that an end will come? Because in the middle of things, it doesn't feel like it, does it?
2/3 through, and we had quit. Just
Oh.
yeah. So we don't know how it ended. So I'm curious if we can have a little synopsis.
Okay, so the tough part is that you probably ended about the time when everything was really deteriorating, right?
Our dog had to go out. We needed a bathroom break. So we turned it off right after she had stabbed the guy with the scissors. And I found myself like going, "You go, girl." And I thought, wait a minute, this isn't good, to be rooting for this violence. So I just said, I'm not sure I want to continue with this. And we also said, what were you thinking, Jim?
The good news is somebody else suggested the movie, but I would have suggested it because I love it. And it really does take getting to the end to realize the power of it.
Okay.
Because you're right, you begin to cheer for them. And the reason why is because at least part of what we have to do is sometimes we have to stand up against the evil of the world, so to speak. Right? That we can't just be passive, which is what they were trying to do. They were trying to live a good life. They were trying to make the best out of a situation. And yet part of it said, we have to do something about this that is happening. That it's not enough just to be in Ward 1 and be happy in Ward 1. Sometimes it takes something more. So what they first of all decided to do is they're going to go down and confront those folks in Ward 3. But one lady in particular, before they made that decision, she went to go change the situation.
Oh.
Sorry about that. All right, so I'm back. I was very wise and intelligent during that you didn't hear, just so you know. So one lady in particular chooses to go do something, okay? The rest of them are banding together, they're trying to decide, and they start down the hallway to go solve the issues. But one lady in particular was way ahead of them. And she comes down and sneaks to the side of where they're there guarding their ward, and she sets things on fire. And everything begins to go to hell in a handbasket type of thing. And they all rush out and go out into the courtyard to say, look, it's on fire, you got to save us. And there's nobody there in the guard shack. Everything is falling apart outside. And so they start wandering through the city and have several adventures there in the city, end up at the house, the doctor's house. And there, at the end of the movie, suddenly the blindness goes away from the first patient, thus heralding that it will go away from all of them.
That's what we hope, anyway.
Well, and at least part of what that's saying is that whatever this hell is that you're going through, it's not forever. And I think sometimes our designations of hell is that it lasts forever. Partially because some of the people we want to send to hell, we want to send them forever, don't we? And yet in things like Revelation, what you see is hell for a time that ends. Why? Because God is better and bigger than hell.
Jim, I would like to say something about the ending too. I think it's real important. Well, when the rains come, and then also later when the women are in the shower together, the rain, as one of the old folk tales, African folk tales said, God washed the world clean again.
Yes.
And it felt to me like it was almost a baptism, and that there was the opportunity to start again. But this small group of people had created a family that
Yes.
was there to support and protect each other and be there when each other needed each other.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things about that was the man who didn't see very well anyway, played by Danny Glover, the eye patch man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Where at one point he is talking to the dark glasses girl, right?
Yeah.
And she tries to describe herself to him, and he says, I don't need to know what you look like. I met you from the inside, and that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's important, that in our blindness, sometimes we begin to see each other differently than what we would do if I'm looking at your nose and your chin and your ears. Because whichever one of those is your flaw, that's what I might see if I'm just looking with my eyes. And in the midst of blindness, maybe we see something different, deeper. At least part of the question, though, is what kind of things are blinding to us, right?
Oh, shucks.
We didn't hear your question.
What-
You froze for a minute.
All right. What I'm going to try to do is I'll keep you guys on here. I'm going to try to go out, come back in, and we'll see what happens. You guys just keep talking and I'll be back. I'm going to make...
You saying?
Yeah, well, I was saying